Tavayin Vav Amud Aleph will begin Ayin Hey Amud Beis right at the bottom of the two dots. V'chol she'eina kosher la'atzniya. So there's the Gemara Amar Velozer Han Deloy Karoshim Velozer. This that the Mishnah says that something which is that the Mishnah says that it's any kosher la'atzniya v'atzniya acher. That's something which is not normally hid away, not something which is not normally stored. And a person went ahead and he stored it. It's something which either the type of item is something that's not normally stored, or it's not in the amount of the size of something that someone would bother to put away. If somebody was matzniyat, the person who he himself, that he was matzniyat, he is chayiv, which implies that somebody else who normally would not put this away, this type or this size of item, then he's part. It's only the person who himself is matzniya. So, Omer of Elazar, how do you like Rav Shimon ben Elazar? This is not like the sheet of Rav Shimon ben Elazar, the Sani Klal, Amar Rav Shimon ben Elazar, Kol she'ina kosher la'atzniya, ve'ein matznim kamaya, something which is not the type or the size of something that people would normally be machshiv and would not put away. And then a particular individual, he himself, was machshavit, he did store it away, and then somebody else came and took out and carried out this item, then the second person, the person who took it out, is nischayev with the machshava of the person who put it away. Our Tana holds that something which is not normally choshev, with not normally the type of thing that people would put away, or if it is, but if it's not in the size, it's not in the amount, the shiur, this people would be matzniya. If a particular person went ahead and was matzniya and he took it out, he's chayav. But that's only him. Somebody else who took it out would be potter. But Rav Shimon ben Elazar holds, oh no, that once somebody is machshavit and he's matzniya, anybody who took it out would be chayav, which is not like the Tana of our Mishnah. Zok the Mishnah weiter, hamaitzi teven kemali pipor. If a person took out straw, and the shear, the amount of it, that would be objectively choshev, whether somebody was machshavit or not machshavit, but the standard shear, the shear that the Chum gave, whether there's a special achshaveh or not, the standard shear for straw, for processed straw, is the size, the mouthful of a kemoli pipar. Amaitzi teven kemoli pipara, then that's the shear. This is talking about processed straw. The straw is when the grain is growing, it's on the stalks. They thresh it, they cut it up from the ground, and they separate their kaitzer, and they separate the stalks from the grain, and then that stalk is cut into pieces. So that's cut into smaller pieces. That's processed straw. That type of straw, the shear, the amount is to be chayiv is kemoli pipora, the mouthful of a cow. Eitzah, if he takes out eitzah, the Gemara will define what eitzah is. We'll see it shortly. Kemoli pigamo. It's required. It's not as choshev. It's a larger amount. It's the amount to fill the mouth of a camel. Omir, if he takes out straw, this is not processed straw. This is after the threshing. You have the stalks over there. It's not kemoli pitla. It's the mouthful of a lamb, which is smaller. So some unfortunately say the pshat is that the difference between teven, which is the larger amount, which is the mouthful of a cow, and over here we're saying it's the omir is kemoli pitla, the lamb, which is smaller. The difference is because after the straw is processed, it's hardened. It gets harder, so the lamb can't eat it. It eats the unprocessed straw. So in the earlier stages, before it's cut into pieces, before it's processed, it's fresher, it's softer, so then the lamb can eat it. So there we say it's kemoli pi the tle. It's even a smaller amount. Since it's suitable for the tle, it's the amount that would fill the mouth of a tle. Asovim, if it's grass, kemoli pi gedi. That's to fill the mouthful of a gedi, of a kid. A kid is smaller than the lamb, so the smaller a shear. Only shum vale b'solim. If it's the leaves of garlic or onions, what's the shear? Lachim kigorgers. If they're fresh, the shear is a gregarous, the size of a dried fig. So as Rashi explains, it's gregarous because these are edible. These are roy for humans, for human consumption. So the shear of food for human consumption is a gregarous. So here also it's a gregarous. Yeveshim, if they're dry, kemoli pigadi, is to fill the mouth of a kid. Vein mistarvin zemzeh, but you cannot combine them. Miknei shlo yishavu shiurim. Their shiurim are not the same. The measures are not the same, so you can't combine it. You can't combine and take a half of a, let's say, teven for the mouth of a para, and try to be mashlim to top it up, the other half with the eitzah, which is a different shears, kamal pi gomel. If he doesn't have, for instance, for example, the full amount of the teven of the straw to fill the mouth of the cow, he can't fill it up with with a shear of an eitzah, because the lo yishavu b'shiurim. The Gemara will explain this in greater detail. My eitzah, so one of the shiurim that we talked about, one of the items we talked about in the Mishnah is eitzah. So we said the eitzah is kamal pi gomel. What is eitzah? Amar Rav Yehuda teven shalmina kitnes. It's the straw from different types of beans, as opposed to the straw from wheat or from grains. This is from different beans, so it's a different type of straw. So that type of straw is used for camels. It's used for camel fodder. And the other regular straw, a straw from the grains from the wheat, etc., is used for cows. So the shear is kamale pi lepara. Ki also of dimi omar hamaitzi teven kamale pi para legoma. If he takes out straw, it's the amount to fill up the pipar. It's a mouthful for a cow. So that is the shear. That's the shear that's required. However, his intent, his purpose in taking it out is not for a cow, it's for a gamal, for a camel. Rav Yochanan Amar Chai, Rav Shimon Lo Shamar Potter. It's machlek. Rav Yochanan says Chai, Rav Shlomo says Potter. But that's what he said in the evening. Of the Safra Harbe in the morning, he changed his mind. Amar Rav Yosef Shaper Ovid Hadar. He said it's good that he changed his mind because the earlier psak l'chayra is very difficult. Because he took out the amount of straw to fill a para. If he had taken it out for a cow, it would be fine, but he's taking it out for a gamal, and a gamal doesn't eat it. So why would that shear be the shear to be chayav? He's not taking out for that purpose. So therefore, it's very difficult. His initial psak is very difficult. Abaye says, no, Adarab, he says just the opposite. Kidamikar mistabra. What he said originally is more mistabra. That's more understandable. Because even though it's not suitable for his purpose, but independently, it's a davar chashuv. Whether he wants to use it for this purpose or not, it's the amount of straw that could feed a para. So objectively, it is a chashuv item. It is taking out, as being mitzi, a davar chashuv. Whether he wants to use it or he doesn't want to use it should be irrelevant. The fact is that he took out something of significance. He took out a shiur of something that's roy that one could feed to the para, and it's the shiur that would fill the mouth of the para. It should be high. Ella, the Gemara says now the Gemara is going to now reverse its entire understanding of the machlekes. Ella ki also Rav and Omar. No, that's not the way the machlekes is. The machlekes is really something else. Hamaitzi teven kamali pi parla gomal. If in fact somebody took out the teven, it's a mouthful of par. If you took it for a gomal, the kolim alay plig the chayiv. Everyone agrees that he'd be chayiv because it is a choshev amount of teven. Ki pligi, whereas the machlekes b'maitzi eitzah kimoli pipar lapar, where he took out eitzah, which is not normally fodder for a cow. He took out it now could fill. It's the shiur, it's the size to fill the mouth of a cow, but it's not normally the fodder for a cow. It's not normally what it eats. So that's the case that they argue about. And the ibcha itmar, and the machlekes is just the opposite. Rav Yochanan Amar Potter. Rav Yochanan is the one who says he's Potter, and Reish Lakish Amar Chayiv, and Reish Lakish says he's Chayiv. Rav Yochanan Amar Potter Achil Etchak Leishmei Achila. Meaning everybody agrees with the Metzias, with the facts, that normally the cow doesn't eat it, but if there's nothing else and it's very hungry, with less brayer, it will eat it. Now, Rav Yochanan says achila deit chak is not kosher. We don't consider it an achila, so we'd be chayiv for the shiur of Shabbos, even though deit chak. If there's no alternative in an emergency, it'll eat it, but that's not a choshev achila, and you're not chayiv for that shiur. So therefore, if he took out the eitzah for which is only measured for the mouth of a cow, since a cow normally doesn't eat it, and it's not to fill, it doesn't fill, it's not the amount to fill the mouth of a gamal, he's potter. Reish Lakish Amar Chayev, Achila Deit Chak, Shmei Achila. Reish Lakish says he's chayev because we do consider that to be choshev enough to be an achila, and he's chayev because the cow could eat it under extreme circumstances. However, to keep in mind, to note, with all of these, and what we're discussing in the Mishnah and the Shiurim, this is to be chayev achatos. The Agos Ashri says, but like in other cases where we say the mashal for achila, for eating chalev, or different macholos asuras, chatzi shir also min ha-Torah, then here as well, Rav Yochanan holds chatzi shir also min ha-Torah, it would be also, it's also min ha-Raisa. There wouldn't be a chiyav chatas, however, unless it's the proper shir. Omer kamali pitle, if he takes out the straw, the unprocessed straw, to fill up the mouth of a lamb. We learned in the Brisa that the shear is a greigerus, a dried fig. The more answers, it's one and the same. The mouth of a mouth of a tleh, the mouth of the lamb, that's equivalent to the size of a greigerus. That's the same size. This mentions that, however, the Tana of the Mishnah does not say kegreigerus, because here we're talking about food, and it's not for humans. Now, normally when it's food for human consumption, the shear is greigerus. So why should this be greigerus? It's not food that's for human consumption. So why is it a greigerus? So that's why the Tana of the Mishnah says that the shear is kemole pitlet, to fill the mouth of a lamb, because that's the reasoning why we give this chashivas, because this is fodder for a lamb, so it's the shear is enough to fill its mouth, which happens to be its equivalent to a greigerus. But in the Mishnah it doesn't say greigerus, because this is why it gives you the rationale for why, in fact, the shear is a greigerus, because it's kamali pitleh. If they're moist or fresh, it's kegreigerus. V'yavation kamali pigdi. And the Mishnah continues and says these different items, you cannot combine them because they do not have the same shear, so they cannot be combined. They can't be mitzdaref for the chomer. So for instance, the first case in the Mishnah is when you have the processed straw, it's for the mouth of a cow, which is smaller than the mouth of a gomel. So eitzah is kamali pi gomel. Now, if a person has the amount of straw, processed straw, and it's not the size, the amount to fill the mouth of a cow, if he combines with it some of the eitzah, and now the total amount could fill the mouth of a cow, he's not chayv achatas for that, because he's mitzvah of something which is kal eitzah, which requires a bigger shear. It requires a larger shear to be chayv achatas. It requires the shear of a pi gomel, and he's combining it with a chomer, with something which is he's missing the amount of something which is needs more chashivas, that it fills the mouth of a cow, and he's being mashlim this missing component with something which is less chashuv, something which requires more of it in order to be chayv achatas. So therefore he says, ein mitzdaref in l'chomer shebem, the eitzah cannot be mitzdaref with the teven. But, however, he says, let's say he's missing some of the eitzah, it's not enough to fill the mouth of a gomel, but then he's mashlim it with teven. Now, teven has more chashivas. A smaller share of it is required to be chayev, only the amount to fill the mouth of a cow, not a gomel. So if he's mashlim the missing amount of the eitzah with teven, then he would be chayev. Can things that are not shavisher, can they be mitzarfen? Can they be mitzarfen at all? In any which way can you be mitzarfen? We learned in the Mishnah, in order to be mekabel tuma, the tumas medres, if it's a cloth, if it's a woven cloth, it needs 3 tefachim, a size of 3 tefachim by 3 tefachim. It doesn't have the size of 3 tefachim by 3 tefachim. It doesn't have chashivas. It's not mekabel tumas medres. V'hasak, and if we're talking about a sack, so what is a sack? A sack is made out of goat's hair, and it's coarse and thick. It's thicker than the wool, the woven wool for beged. A sack needs a larger piece to be more choshev. It's inherently less choshev. It's a less choshev material, so it needs a bigger piece of cloth. So in order for it to be kabel tumas medres, a sack is arba al arba, 4 tefachim by 4 tefachim. Or if it's leather, chamish al chamisha, it's 5 by 5. Mapits, if it's a mat made out of reeds, shishal shisha, 6 by 6. V'tonil law, we learned up beged v'hasak v'arba mapits mitzarfim zeim zeh. If a person made a patch by combining any of these materials, and if he made it into a patch, then if he combined it and he made it into one piece with the intent that he should be using it for this piece, then he said, then mitzarfim zeim zeh. Then you could be mitzaref. Why could you be mitzaref? These things normally are not combined together; they're separate. Why do we say that they combine? Because they are fit to be used for moshe for sitting, and as Rashi explains, if you make a patch for a saddle, for a donkey, so sometimes a person for that type of a purpose, he's not makbid. He doesn't care if he has different materials. It's patch for the donkey, so it doesn't bother him. So he will combine the different materials for that purpose. Now, the reason, therefore, we can combine is because we have a case where these materials are combined. But otherwise, l'chayra, you would say that you cannot be mitzaref. They're not mitzaref l'tuma because they're not combined. There are things that are not combined. So any which way the Gemara is asking, whether it's a kal shabacham or chomer shabakal, how can you combine them? There are items that are used separately. The cow eats this, the camel eats that, the cow eats the teven, the camel eats the esa. So it's what? How can you be mitzaref them? They have different functions. So time of the Rim L'Tamim Moshe, the only reason by the case of Tuma that were mitzaref because they have a case, an application where they're put combined together. Avalein Roy L'Tamim Moshe V'loy, but if not, we would not combine them together. Amarava. He says, yes, we do have a precedent, we do have a chetimsa where they are combined. As Rashi explains, because when a merchant wants to sell his wares, he wants to sell this different type of fodder. So what he does is he puts it in the window. It's a type of marketing. He puts it on a display board, and he puts the different types together, and he shows the potential customers what he has for sale. He has teven, he has eitzah, he has omer, he has all these different things, different types of animal fodder for sale. Now he wants to do it. He does combine it together because he doesn't want to have it separate, because then the wind can blow it away. They can fall apart and get displaced. So he'd rather have a larger mass, and he combines it somewhat combined together, and to give it more bulk so it doesn't get dispersed and blown away. So in that case, he does combine it together. So it does have an application. So therefore, that's why he maintained that it could be combined, but it has to be combined in the right ratio, and it has to be combined where you're combining a chomer to the kal and not the kal to the chomer.